Kirby is back. After 30 years, he finally has his own 3D game. And to me, this game is... What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. It's Dusty, one half of Radiant Gaming, and let's get into this Kirby and the Forgotten Land review from someone who has never played a Kirby game before this one. And yeah, you heard that right. This is my very first Kirby game ever. And you may be sitting there wondering like, okay, why does that matter? I just want to know if the game is good. Because in my opinion, I feel like I get to experience this game in a different light than those who have actually played a Kirby game before. The only experience I've ever had with a Kirby game is literally in Super Smash Bros. So instead, I get a fresh take on this game and I get to decide for myself whether this game as a standalone title is good or not. And of course, if you're sitting there and you've never played a Kirby game before either and you're debating on whether to get the Forgotten Land, I'm just going to say in short, you don't have to be a Kirby fan to enjoy this game. And I'm sure there are nods to past Kirby games in the Forgotten Land, but I wouldn't know one if it smacked me in the face. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is exactly what you've seen in the trailers. A crazy 3D platformer with crazy copy abilities and crazy abilities that you get with mouthful mode. There are plenty of awesome crazy courses in this game and definitely no shortage of cuteness. And each course actually makes you feel like you're a part of some great big world. And as far as the controls go, the simplest thing of a game, I thought the controls were incredible. That's one of the biggest things for me when I play a game is obviously how it controls, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land controls amazing. Whatever they had to do to change it from 2D or 2.5D to 3D, they did really well. And I'm just going to say I'm not the platformer king of the world. I can promise you that. You can ask my wife. She laughs at me all the time because I am so bad at platformers. But one thing I am is just as big as a Mario fan as most Nintendo fans out there. And the reason I say that is because when I went into this game, I fully expected Mario style gameplay. I honestly really thought this was going to be a Mario Odyssey style game, but pink. And to be honest, it's not. But I'm okay with that. What Kirby and the Forgotten Land does with the 3D style it gives you, it does really, really well. It's not Super Mario Odyssey, it's Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and I think that's what makes it so good. And I know some people are worried about the easiness of this game. I know you've probably seen stuff that's like, this game is more geared towards kids. And for you experienced platformers out there, I'm sure it is easy. But don't let that deter you from the game. Kirby 100% doesn't set out to be the craziest platform ever created. And I think they know that. And I think to say that it's childish or kiddish or geared towards children really takes away from what the game is trying to accomplish. This game has way more to enjoy than just difficult platforming. Like I said earlier, each course in this game is super well designed. It takes place in normal places that you would recognize like a mall, but in a post-apocalyptic setting, all the while running around as one of the cutest video game characters ever created. And if you set out to get all 300 Waddle Dees that are in this game, you will have to look in every nook and cranny in each level to find all of these Waddle Dees, all the while completing special missions in each level to save them all. And that is a challenge in itself. For me, that makes up for any difficulty that the platforming lacks. And on top of that, you get to just kick back in Waddle Dee Village, go fishing, play mini games, just hang out with the Waddle Dee, all while just relaxing and having an awesome time. This game is super easy to get lost in, and the visuals make it that much more interesting. And speaking of visuals, if you're one of those people that graphics really matter, I feel like this game might exceed your expectations. The graphics, in my opinion, are incredible. You can tell just how much hard work went into every small detail in this game. One thing that really stood out to me was the lighting in this game. I felt like they really did the lighting amazing in this game. That's something super small, but something that I really picked up on that you can tell they just put so much hard work into. The character designs were also awesome. Kirby, of course, was mega super cute, and the Waddle Dees and Bandana Waddle Dee follow suit. Heck, even some of the enemies you had to kill felt like they were too cute to be killed. There really seems to be cuteness lurking around every corner of this game. But cuteness is not all that the enemies have. They also have a lot of detail. Even the fur on the Awoofies really blew my mind with how detailed it was. And to me, I felt like the game played very smooth. I experienced no lag issues. My wife and I both played this game, and we felt that it ran completely smooth the whole time we played it. Every area flowed seamlessly, and I felt like the camera was really amazing. Aside from maybe the multiplayer. When you play in co-op, the camera's kind of wonky if you're playing as player 2 because the camera really only focuses on player 1 while player 2 just kind of runs around. And if player 2 gets too far away, it'll actually drag them back to Kirby. But aside from that, everything else flowed really well. The story to this game really wasn't all that much, but it was compelling. But I also have a feeling if you're playing Kirby for the story, you're really not playing Kirby for the right reason. And just so I avoid spoilers, I will not go in detail with the storyline, but in short, you get get pulled into a different world as Kirby, and then you have to save the world, obviously. Super simple story, but it actually had some emotional parts to it. And while most of the time the game did focus solely on gameplay, there was also a little bit of character development. Just building back Waddle Dee town alone kind of made you feel really connected to these Waddle Dee. And whenever they brought you stuff, it really made you feel for them and made you feel like you had a special connection with these Waddle Dee. Elfin is your companion, and while I feel like they did not explore Elfin as much as they could have, and to say I was super attached to him would be a lie, but it did feel like you were on a mission to save the world as Kirby, and then Elfin was there along to help you. To be honest, I really got more attached to Bandana Waddle Dee because my wife and I played this game in co-op most of the time, and I saw Bandana Waddle Dee more than I saw Elfin. And speaking of co-op, this game really is a fun game to play as co-op. We played this game as co-op the whole time. There was only a few courses we didn't play as co-op, and they all worked really smooth. And like I said earlier, the only complaint I have was Bandana Waddle Dee getting pulled back to Kirby. I played Kirby, and whenever my wife would be off exploring or trying to kill an enemy, I would go backwards on accident and accidentally pull her in front of another enemy or into lava or off a cliff and accidentally kill her. But this is by no means a deal breaker for this game. I definitely don't think that you shouldn't play co-op because of this one aspect. I still think that the co-op was amazing, and we still had a lot of fun playing it together and made a lot of great memories playing this game. And because this game isn't necessarily that challenging, it is a great game for you to play with your kids. And if you did decide to play with your spouse or a friend, it is still just as fun to play with someone that is older. That is because you can go through and try to get as much in this game as you can, like rescuing all the Waddle Dees. But even if you don't do that, this game is still fun and charming to play together. And then something that I feel is really important with video games is replayability, or just longevity of being able to play the game. Whenever you spend your hard-earned money on a game, you want to make sure that you're able to play it and get your money's worth out of it. As far as replaying this game, if I'm brutally honest with myself, I will probably not replay this game. That is probably more geared towards my personality, as most of the time whenever I finish a game story, I never pick it up again. I just feel like I complete it, I put it on a shelf, and that's just the way I am. But that doesn't mean that the game lacks at all in longevity, because I really feel like you get your money's worth in this game, especially if you try to get every Waddle Dee, and you can even go beyond that as the game gives you post-game content. And that's not to mention all the stuff you can do in Waddle Dee Town and just battles and just hanging out in Waddle Dee Town trying to complete it and just having a good time there. And if you're a completionist, this game has a ton to fuel that. And then all that aside, a lot of people actually got this game just because it was stress-free. And that's true because the game is really beautiful, the game is really cute, the game is really fun. It's a game that if you've had a stressful day at work or something, you can come home, sit down on the couch, and just have an awesome time, whether you're playing solo or you decide to play with your spouse. So as far as getting your money's worth in this game, I feel like you do. I feel like there is enough content for you to be able to complete this game with the completionist spirit. And aside from that, I feel like there is enough stress-free content in this game that you can just have an awesome time playing this game and not feel bad about spending money on it. So with all that being said, my final verdict, as if you couldn't tell through the whole video, is really nothing but positivity. There wasn't really any complaints I had with this game at all. There's literally only maybe two that I can think of. And that is the co-op camera situation. And then sometimes I would jump and then accidentally click B with the fire ability, and I would just dragon fire across the whole screen. That got on my nerves a little bit, but that was probably more of my fault than anything. My final rating for this game is a 9 out of 10. And if you're asking me, do I think it's worth it for you to pick up? If it is in your budget, I say 100% yes. I don't think you'll be disappointed with this game. And I feel like pretty much what you've seen in the trailers is what you get. It is that awesome, and all of the mouthful modes are really that much funnier in the game than they were in the trailers, and it's hilarious just to sit down and be able to control them as Kirby. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button. Also subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss a video. My wife and I do stream over on Twitch, and the link is in the description if you would like to check that out. This is one half of Our Radiant Gaming signing off. Everyone have an awesome day, and God bless.